tears and heal your pain, and victory will be in your name.
I used to be weak, but I'm not weak no more. I found the strength of my ancestors deep down in my African core. I used to be frightened, I'm not afraid no more. The Father blessed me with the heart of a lion and a warrior soul. So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer, conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer, conquer them.
Tell them no retreat, no surrender. I shall fight till the end of days. I was born as a Makai warrior, and the Almighty God my blade. Fire burn all Satan carrier. Father loose all shackles and chain. This morning first thing as I wake up, King David told Sam to the brain. Don't let your courage go down, keep it up. And if your heart rip up and stitch it up, don't let your faith them fall, pick it up. When my cup was empty, God fill it up. Don't take the devil contract, rip it up. And if your bad mind people to go meet it up, pass me the Congo drum and let me beat it up. God on my side, me no give it up.
So no weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer, conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer, conquer them.
Thank you, Father. I want to say thank you, Lord. You're everything, Father. Thank you. Father, you alone shall guide me. No man shall lead my path. In the wind I hear your quiet whispers, and you heal my broken heart. Even some of my friends turn enemies, and they pray for right to feel. And remember you gave us your only begotten son, but we gave him the wound of flesh. Send down your warriors with the hello, be carried down to the end of days. No matter how the devil tries trick me, unto you my soul I will give. Father, I know this time is coming. I can see the high tide raise. Without you there is no other. Could it be that we is my
No weapon that form against I shall not prevail. And no man that rise against I, that war they shall never win. 'Cause I will conquer, oh I will conquer, yes I will conquer, conquer them. Come on, let's conquer, oh I will conquer, rise up and conquer, conquer them.
I am a man. I am a champion. I am a warrior. So who are you to tell me that I cannot make? Who are you to tell me that I am not the greatest thing that God ever created?
Good morning, Grenada, Carriacou, and P.T. Martinique. Good morning to you. It's a beautiful, beautiful Monday morning. Lord, what is wrong with me? It's a beautiful Friday morning, eh? I don't know, like I want the week to start over. It's a beautiful Friday morning in the Spice Isle of Grenada. A special good morning to those of you joining us on the various radio stations, 97.5 City Sound FM, 89.5 CRFM, 91.9 and 91.5 Real FM Radio, 92.9. And that's our sister Isle radio broadcasting from Hillsborough, Carriacou, and of course 94.9 We Noise Radio out there in Brooklyn, New York. A very special good morning to those of you who are joining us on the various live streams, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you are joining us from. Good morning to you. A very special good morning to you. It's Friday, guys. It's the end of the week. Tomorrow is a holiday. Saturday. For those of you who normally work on a Saturday, I know you're going to enjoy your day off. You know, I know there was a lot of talk and a lot of commotion around Saturday being a holiday, but that is how it is. I remember, was it last year? It was December of last year. Let me pull up my calendar. Sure, I know I seen December of last year, maybe. Let me see. Yep, December of last year, Boxing Day fell on a Saturday. And as far as I remember, the Saturday was the holiday. So it's not something new. It's not something that is being taken away from you. It's not something that is being changed. That's just how it is. I think sometimes we make too much of a big issue over trivial matters. Very, 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 very trivial matters. Very simple things that could be easily avoided. We take and we turn into a big deal. My co-host is somewhere about there. He's going to be joining us soon. And of course, we're going to continue the conversation today surrounding what we started discussing yesterday as it relates to the industrial action, the safety of our children, prioritizing the needs and safety of our children above all else, above loyalty and solidarity and all of that. While all of that is important, the safety of our children must come paramount to that. And of course, we want to talk a bit about vaccination as well today and COVID-19 because a lot has been happening around the world as it relates to COVID-19. I know in Grenada here, some of us, some people are very, very caught up in what's happening with the industrial action, but we really do need to pay attention to what is happening internationally as it relates to COVID-19 because they always say when the larger countries sneeze or when the bigger world sneeze, we in the Caribbean always feel the effects. All right, Mr. Bola, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. Duncan, and of course, good morning to our loyal listeners. My pardon for having to run out for a couple of minutes, just about the time we were to start the program. I do hope that everyone has risen this morning, or most of us, with good health and strength. Of course, thanking the Lord for the night we have spent. Kind of cool, much cooler than a couple of nights before or the weeks before that because we were having good sunlight. It's a little bit wetter, if that's a word, between yesterday or the night before last night, yesterday. And even this morning, I'm a little surprised that St. George's is a little more sunny than when I left St. Andrews this morning. We were still very overcast. It was dark. In fact, coming through the Granite Tank this morning, the visibility was really, really low. There's a lot of mist and you had to put on your headlights. Not so much that you couldn't see without the headlights, but just that oncoming vehicles, traffic would recognize you much easier because your lights were on. But, I think it makes for a good day. What a wonderful day it is. And of course, it's Friday. It's the weekend. Some people are planning whatever little celebrations, bearing in mind that tomorrow, Saturday, would be a holiday. It's May Day. Labor Day, as we call it here in these parts.
And I was just saying, Mr. Bola, there was a lot of commotion over whether the Monday should be granted as a holiday or whether it is a usual practice to put the Monday as a holiday when Saturday, when the holiday falls on a Saturday. And I remember it was last December when Boxing Day was actually on a Saturday. And it was observed on the Saturday. And maybe it probably didn't resonate with people because the Friday before was a holiday, which was Christmas Day as well. Mm-hmm. So it didn't resonate as much that, look, we have this holiday on the Saturday and so on. But it did fall on a Saturday. And I was making note that this is something that normally happens. It's not something new. If it falls on a Sunday, however,
then the Monday
becomes
recognized as the holiday. Yes,
recognized as a holiday. And while we are here clamoring as to whether we need to get the Monday as a holiday or whether the Saturday is a holiday, just a stone throw away in Barbados, they're actually going on lockdown for that holiday. Mia ain't taking no chances. She's not taking any chances with COVID.
I think it is more than Mia. I think it is about recognizing where you are and constant observation of where you're heading as it relates to the pandemic. Because while many of us take for granted in Grenada that, well, COVID ain't doing a thing, we're good here, we're safe here, there's so many parts around the world, so many countries that are reeling under the effects of the pandemic. So, for example, Trinidad at the moment is under lockdown. Barbados is going under another lockdown. You have places like Italy, Germany, France, some European nations that are in the second or third phase of lockdown.
Yes.
You have India. New Delhi, Calcutta, some of those places. I mean, it's horrifying to see what is happening. 300,000 plus people per day, they're getting coming down positive with the virus. Yeah. And as one commentator was saying, what you think is happening, what is responsible for that, is the fact that many people thought when the numbers drop, they felt that it was over for them, which is what a lot of people are saying here in Grenada. Well, we don't have anything. In fact, people who should, I believe, know better, or at least seek to get better information, to be more properly informed before they speak. And I speak now of the NDC caretaker for St. Patrick's West, Mr. Andal. I mean, to hear him broadcast publicly on national radio.
And it was news. It wasn't on the news.
Yes, it made the news.
It was news.
And I keep wondering, why would you allow things like that to go on the news, where he's calling on the government to remove the state of emergency and to remove the what we call it at night, the curfew. Sorry, yes, at night. And his rationale, as he said, is because there are only 2 cases presently that are in quarantine. Now, India today, the world's largest producer of the AstraZeneca vaccine, is on its lowest because of COVID.
Yeah.
They show you photos of people lying virtually on the floor, not even a bed sheet.
I wanted Mr. Bola, and it was my plan maybe later on to play this, but I think it's an opportune time for us to do it now.
Yeah, just before you put it on, I just want our people to understand that we're just saying certain things, and some people for political expediency because they think they'll get a few likes. Some people going to say, I agree with you, because they want the country open up and they want to line, but they don't want to take a vaccine to make sure that they protect themselves and their family and the people around them. And, these people will jump up and say, yeah, it's time to do that. We just open up our mouth. But look at what is happening around the world, where a lot of people have done similar to what you're asking us to do here in Grenada. Feeling that everything is over. This vaccine is one of the strangest, as they tell you. It keeps mutating. In fact, the virus, it keeps mutating. In fact, only recently, we've been hearing about the English variant, or the European variant, the Brazilian, the New York, the African. Now, only in the last week, they have discovered in Sri Lanka that there is a new variant.
But you see, Mr. Bola,
which is many times worse than the other variants that we've seen before.
What people don't understand is that the longer the virus is around in your society, the more spread or the more capable the virus is of spreading, is the more mutations you are going to have. So the main goal should be to eradicate the spread altogether.
And what will cause that is vaccination and obeying the protocols. Yeah. The more we can keep it off our system, the better our chances of eradicating it.
Yeah.
Totally. So I think you should play that because, for those who have not heard, those who are not looking at international news, those who are not following up the traction of this virus, need to hear. And that's only one part of the story that you're hearing there.
That's only one part. But it's a very sad part of it.
Very sad.
So we're going to play this this short, it's about 4 minutes, a clip, so that you can get a better idea, those of you who have not been following the international
And it says that the country where COVID-19 spreads faster than anywhere ever in the world.
Yeah. So let's take a moment and listen to
More than 250,000 people per day.
Yeah. More than 3,000 people
332,000.
No, but 3,000 people, over 3,000 people dying daily.
Daily, well, they say that one every 4 minutes.
One every 4 minutes.
One person in India is dying every 4 minutes as a result of COVID.
Very unfortunate. Very, very sad. Let's play the clip for them, Mr. Bola.
This doctor is having a breakdown because in her country, COVID spreads faster than anywhere else in the world.
We have to manage patients at home with oxygen, and this is not something we are enjoying.
Just look at this anchor's background where people are being carried and cremations are happening non-stop. No more hospital beds, no more oxygen supplies. People begging hospitals to take care of their families. Like this woman who has been carrying her husband around for over 10 hours just so he gets accepted. 332,000 cases in one day. This is how massive the virus in India is right now, over a year into the pandemic.
Singapore has closed its border to long-term pass holders and short-term visitors who have recently been to India.
It's really sad to see my mother go away because she was just 59 and she recently retired.
And what makes this even harder to accept is that India is the world's largest vaccine maker. Since last year, India has been giving away millions of vaccines to over 90 countries. Indian-made COVID vaccines will save the world, said the headlines. But today, as the virus is overtaking the entire nation, they need it more than anyone. Why is this happening in India? And more importantly, why are people still having mass gatherings? There, a few months ago, the daily number of cases dropped. Most people thought the virus was almost gone. And this is where we can learn something important. Because COVID is not gone yet. And the moment people think that it is, things get out of control. And some countries right now are facing huge second waves that are worse than ever. In India, many people decided to go back to their normal lives. No more social distancing. Some people even got back to festivals. Until now, only a little over 1% of India's population has been vaccinated. The world's largest vaccine maker is far from being vaccinated as the nation. And from one crowd to another crowd, day by day, as many people stopped caring about the virus, unfortunately, it hit them very hard. And now, we as the world can only look and send our love and prayers towards India, because to win against this virus, they need more support and unity than ever. And so I'm sending this global message to everyone around the world watching this video. Just look at this graph. It's hard to believe, but 1 year later, COVID-19 is stronger than ever, and it's not to be underestimated.
We have a 35-year-old who's on the ventilator, and we are not able to help people now. So we do not want any of you to be in that situation.
Please share this video with your friends and family to spread awareness about this global issue.
It cannot explain the kind of surge in cases that we are seeing now currently in India. There is a great role for highly infectious variants of the virus which are spreading faster, and some of them might be even having the capacity to escape the immune system.
As the world is trying to get back to normal, let's not forget that if your country has very low vaccination, then it's better to keep safe by staying home, wearing masks, and socially distancing yourself from others. And as you do that, let's keep India in our prayers, so that they can come together to win against the virus once and for all, inspiring the rest of the world.
Sabola, that was very sad. I mean, getting all teary-eyed and because, I mean, for those of you on the live who didn't see the video, we're going to post it on the Hard Talk page so you can take a look at it, because you get an even more emotional response looking at some of the live footage that's happening in the area. People crying over dead bodies, losing their loved ones, people lying on hospital floors, hospitals overwhelmed. I mean, it's just devastating.
There isn't even oxygen supply. As a matter of fact, there was another news clip which I looked at just over the weekend, where families are selling all their possessions so that they can go purchase one tank of oxygen to give to their loved ones who came down with the virus, because the government, the hospitals just cannot provide sufficiently. And that is why the government of Grenada keeps saying, we must try as hard as it is, we must do more and do better to avert Grenada falling in a situation like that. And it doesn't take long, it doesn't take much. As the report would show you, as the footage would show you, there was one time when the numbers of positive cases in India dropped. It was very low. People took that for granted, that it was over, that they had under control the COVID-19 virus. And everybody started partying again. And the government opened up and they allowed people to be loose, going to the beaches and doing everything. And suddenly they got hit again with a second wave, but much harder than before. And this is what Mr. Andal is asking for in Grenada. Go ahead and loosen up. Forget all these restrictions. We don't have it. And all of a sudden it gets into the island, and before you know it, Grenada is so small. It spreads and thousands of people start coming on. And then they can blame the government to say, well, look, we don't have enough hospital beds. You don't have oxygen mask, and you handle the whole situation bad. You're not capable of managing the crisis, because it is their vehicle, they think, that can get them into political office.
And that's very upsetting, Mr. Bola, because I personally, as an individual, do not want to be utilized as a scapegoat for anybody's political expediency. And that is a very, very sad and troubling thing to think about. That somebody,
I think it's immoral.
It is immoral that somebody would rather see an outbreak of COVID, would rather drive people towards their safety being compromised, just so they can turn around and blame the government for something, or say that they were incompetent of handling the situation, or say that, look, Grenada's healthcare system is not even good enough to handle an outbreak of COVID. No healthcare system in the world was ever capable, and still is not capable,
look at
of
India.
Handling COVID-19.
There are more millionaires in India than any part of the world.
Else.
They have the most millionaires. But COVID is reaping havoc there now.
I feel very disrespected as an intellectual being, as a person who can think, who can reason, that somebody would do something like that, would go that far, would be that immoral.
But let's not forget it, because you see, sometimes I think that's one of the things that happen to us as Grenadians. A lot of these people take for granted that we don't recollect and remember things for very long.
Yes.
It was not too long ago when you had a spike in numbers because of what they called, was it a bubble that took place at the Sandals La Source, and a spokesperson from the National Democratic Congress, in fact, Mr. Kennedy Roberts, publicly went on air to say that as a result of that both the ministers of health and tourism should resign, because you had a spike, you had a bubble, you had a few people coming down with the virus, and he said it's because they were incapable of handling it. Now the government has put what it needs to put, the structures in place, and people now from the same organization, things are being handled, things are being controlled to a certain extent. They say, take it out. There's no need for it. What do you really want? For the government to function and perform and protect the lives of Grenadians and their livelihoods? Because that's what the government wants. They want Grenadians to survive first and foremost, but they also want to give them an opportunity to earn, to work, to be able to take care of themselves and their families in the best way possible. But that comes with certain restrictions and certain things happening.
Certain sacrifices.
Certain sacrifices being made. And that's what the government is trying to guide. And you don't like it because you can see at the end of the road, there's some hope there's some light.
But it's
So-
very, it's also
So you say,
very
go ahead and take
unfair.
it off. And then you take it off and something happens, and then you say resign because you're not handling it correct.
But it's also very unfair. It's very, very unfair, especially for the unions. And I want to make this absolutely clear, especially for the unions and their leaders who have been vaccinated, mind you, who are not actively encouraging their members to get vaccinated.
Are you saying
But
to me that all of the union leaders got
the
vaccinated?
most vocal one has been.
Okay.
And he has said that. He's gone on public television to say that he has been vaccinated. And it is very unfortunate that I do not see him playing a more active role in getting
The membership.
his members to be vaccinated, but is on a campaign to tell the membership that they cannot be forced to be vaccinated. And it's very unfortunate that he would take that route, the route where there will be conflict, the route where there will be contention, as opposed to taking the route where he can encourage even just a few to make a difference, to get vaccinated, to help make a change, so that we can turn around the economy, so that everybody who is fighting for a little bit more can get the little more that they are fighting for. You know, it's very unfortunate. And it leads me to believe, Mr. Bola, that they are enjoying and thriving and relishing in the fact that there is some sort of unrest, that there is some sort of grievance among the membership. It gives them, you know, some people who thrive in terrible situations.
There are
That
those
is
who
what
can
they
do
are
that.
doing. They are thriving in this terrible situation because they feel like this gives them some sort of power. It gives them some sort of ride, some drive.
Well, it does give them drive. It motivates them because you see, wherever there is conflict and there is unrest and uncertainty, people generally looks for someone, some organization, you know, something that can rally them together, that can give hope to them. And the intent on the part of many of them is, let us do everything we can to create that kind of uncertainty in the minds of the public. Let us do whatever we can to have drama, to have confrontation. So people will start getting confused, you know, and as a result, decide that with the present administration, there's too much negativity happening.
So my
so
question,
they can get an opportunity for themselves.
So my question then lies, Mr. Bola, if that is the case, let us say, for example, that these individuals are saying that government should not that government should resign. The government should quit. They should give up their power, and so on. They are saying this. Now, if they get into power, whomever they want to get into power, when they get into power, Mr. Bola, is it going to be a situation where all of a sudden nobody needs to get vaccinated anymore? COVID-19 will disappear completely and everything will be resolved. And the measures that are being taken now that they say should not be taken, they will not take. Are we guaranteed that that will happen?
No, Ms. Duncan. I don't think they're guaranteeing that. And I don't think they can guarantee that. There are some people, they feel whatever they need to achieve must come by any means necessary. Any means that they can use. Not having one iota of care or concern for the people that are going to be affected as a result. Now, let the whole place come down with COVID. Chaos, you know, confusion, the public fighting, the police up in arms with the government, the teachers on strike, and children can go to school, you know, and all those chaotic kind of issues. Let it happen. Let those things go on. Gives us an opportunity to state claim to power because the present administration can't keep the peace, can't keep the place tranquil enough. Do you think they have a plan to deal with all of that when they get into office?
Not.
They are like some leaders who don't care what happens to the people. All they want to know that they sit on the throne. So even if your people are hungry, they are dying, you know, things are not working out, the healthcare system is in shambles, whatever may be the case, all that is important in the minds of some of these people is that we are in charge. But why do you want to be in charge? I thought you wanted to be in charge so that you can make things right, people's lives can be better. Because with all that they're saying, they will not tell you, and they cannot tell you how they're going to make things better.
Yeah.
What route would they take?
Yeah.
How would they find the resources? How would they turn around the economy? What are the things we will do that will make life become much more prosperous for Grenada? They can't. All they're doing is that they're pegging at you and they're digging at you and they're encouraging you. Go ahead, strike.
Yeah.
Have mass demonstration. Make the place ungovernable, so that they can slip in nice and easy, without you recognizing that is what they want, and then all hell break loose because they can't fix it.
Yeah.
In fact, the situation will get 10 times worse. Because let us not forget, not too long ago, it was 2008 when an opportunity was given to the same bunch of people.
Yep.
What happened? What happened? The record is there for all of us to remember. But let us also not forget, these are the same people who last year, 2020, when COVID just came around, that went all over saying that the government is who was endangering the lives of Grenadians.
Yep.
That they weren't doing what they're supposed to do to protect and prevent the virus. We have been among the most successful, probably the most in this region, and among others, the rest of the world, in terms of how the government, with all of the measures taken and put in place in dealing with COVID-19. Yes? All of those, and many of those from outside of Grenada, who they were making mass on social media about the government and what they're doing to the people of Grenada, and so had to put their mouth in bags after, because their first world countries was worse off 100-fold than Grenada was. Little Grenada, with a weak economy and not too strong public health facilities and system. But thank God, the good people within the health division, the doctors and nurses, they used whatever little they had with the policies that was put in place by the government, and they made sure that we took care, and is still taking care. So to them, they have lost that battle, but they're not prepared to give up. They're going to do everything else. Now, these same people, and that brings me into another point, and I don't want to stray too far away from the issue of COVID and why it is necessary to get vaccine, because these are the same people that are telling others that there's not a must, they can't force you. Well, the government enforcing, the Prime Minister has repeatedly said that he will never go to Parliament. He doesn't see it necessary to put a law that will force people. But if a businessman has his facility, he has put all his life's earning into a business, now looking for survival for himself and his family. And he says to you that one of the conditions for you to work in my establishment is that you must get vaccinated, because I deal with the public all the time. And I need you to be vaccinated in order to deal with the people, so that you don't contract anything and spread it to my customers or to the other members of staff. What do you think the government can do about that? It is policy.
But it's unfair, Mr. Buller, for a worker, an employee, to say to their employer, you can't force me to get vaccinated, but you have to pay me every month still. It's very unfair.
No, I think that is something that needs to be worked out.
Yeah, because okay, listen to my point of view and how I am thinking. I have a business, Mr. Buller. As you say, I spend my life earnings on that business and so on. In order for my business to run, I need all of my employees to work at full capacity. Now, you come in with your COVID, your anti-vax, and you contract COVID, right? That means that's one less person that is there to help my business to thrive. But I still have to pay you. You understand? You contract COVID and you give it to another customer or whomever. Now, my business has a bad name because my employees have not been vaccinated, because my business has COVID. Now, I have to shut down because my place has to be sanitized, so I have to spend extra money for all of that and so on. It is very unfair for you to demand from your employer, but your employer must not be able to demand from you.
No, yeah, it's something that I think the people that are involved in the labor movement must take a serious look at and must bring facts and explanation. Because while I believe that it is the right of an employer to put certain structures in place to ensure the safety of not just the business, but of the patrons in the business and the employees within the business, I believe it is their right and their duty, not just a right, but I think it's also a duty that they have. What bugs me a bit, and I need to get some clarity on, and I have to find out, maybe from Labour Commission or maybe from someone in the trade union movement, how do you then deal with an employee who've been on the job 10 years, 12 years, 15 years,
Right.
and you have now put in place the structure that all your employees should be vaccinated, and that employee decides, well, I am not going to take the vaccine. I'm not interested in that, and nothing you say would cause me. So you say, well, you didn't take the vaccine, you can't come on the compound, you're no longer allowed to be here until you take the vaccine. And that person says, well, that's it for me. I'm not going to be employed with you again. How do you then deal? Is there going to be a compensation package? How do you deal with it? Or if the person decides, well, they don't want to call it off, I want to work, but I don't want to take the vaccine, and you doesn't want them on your compound because they're not taking the vaccine, what is the outcome, the compensation package? So that, I think, for me, is the most troubling part, but I have no qualms in my mind that an employer has that right and that
And I don't
authority.
think any employer really and truly wants to force anybody to be vaccinated. I think at the end of the day, they are thinking about their business, their investment, their livelihood, and you can't blame them for thinking along those lines. Just as you are thinking about your life and you are thinking about your safety and your rights, they have
And what
to
is
all,
important
what
to
is
you,
important
that's
to
what you want to
They are
protect.
thinking about that, and that is why it's important for us to understand where our rights stop. You know, where our rights stop, because rights are not what's the word I'm looking for? They're not exclusive to only you.
Yep.
Rights are for everyone, and your rights or the exercising of your rights cannot infringe on the exercising of someone else's rights. And we have to understand that. So we often hear people saying, oh, my right, my right, my right. But yes, you have rights, but are your rights infringing on the rights of others? And therefore, if that
Or
is
is
happening,
your rights more important than my rights?
Or your
stronger
rights.
than my rights?
Exactly. And I think that is a bigger conversation that we need to start having. And I think it has a lot to do with consideration. Being considerate for the fact that you are not the only human who exists in your space. You know, you live in a country.
Well,
in a
you should
world,
exist. You should be the only one existing in your space.
in this country then. You
but
know?
in the country as large, you're not the only one existing.
Exactly. So you have to be mindful of the fact that every single person has rights. Because your mouth bigger than mine don't mean my rights less than yours. You know, and
That's what you're telling me?
of course, because your mouth bigger than mine don't mean your rights my rights less than yours.
But I've never
All at
infringed.
all.
I've never infringed on your right in any way. Have I?
How do you know?
But you've never said so to me.
How do you know?
You've never said so to me.
But
You've
I'm-
never
I'm
said,
gonna start
Mr. Bola,
speaking up more.
you are in my space. You are infringing on my right as a human being. My right guaranteed under the Constitution of this country.
Yes.
You've never said so to
I
me.
will start to say that.
So I take for granted that sometimes I get close to you, but I didn't realize that I am
You're infringing on my
infringing on your rights and that
Next
I'm
time
taking out
I'm
your
going to let
space.
you know.
You know?
gonna let you
So, I mean, we really have to,
Be
whatever we're
considerate.
doing, whatever we feel we have that, whether it is legal or moral right to earn, to accept, to take, whatever we want to say, we have to accept and understand that we are not the only ones that
Yes.
have rights.
Yes.
We have to accept the fact that others have a right to, that the children of this country have that right to be educated. And that when you decide you're not going to school because your union leader was asked by members of the Royal Grenada Police Service to come so that they can have a conversation, they can question. Now, remember I said to come because they didn't arrest him. The police did not detain him. The police went to him and asked him if he would come in.
So they can have a conversation.
So they can have a conversation. They can question him about certain things. Things that they don't have answers for, and he might be able to help them with getting answers.
Yeah.
And he called up all his people and said, look, I'm going into the police station, but I want you to come. Come and demonstrate. Come and make noise. Come with your placard.
And for what?
To make the world and the rest of Grenadians believe
that you're being victimized.
That you are being victimized.
Yeah.
When you know it is not true, you were not victimized.
Yeah.
And then you have people who want to be politicians, claiming that the present-day politicians in government are instructing the police to do certain things when they know that that is not factual.
Yeah.
When they know that the police works independently. And it is the right of the police to ask certain questions, and based on the present situation that we are living in, that to conduct certain activities, you need to have an application go to the police to get permission for a large gathering and for having crowds and so.
But not
and
only
in the
that,
absence,
further from that, Mr. Bola, the person who he succeeded was also asked to the police station for questioning. He did not hear a word. He did not ask for them to come and make noise. Nothing of the sort.
Because the one before understood that while he had a right, he had to obey the rules and the laws of the country that are in place.
Right.
And you see, when some of us in the political arena tend to give the impression to people that there is no reason to follow laws, that there is no reason to seek permission when you have to, but you can go right ahead.
Yeah.
Because the politicians want to play with your rights. When they get an opportunity to be in the seat and in the office, no one would respect them either, you know.
None. That's true.
Because they have already set the agenda. They have already taught people how to be disobedient.
Yeah.
And how to fight back.
It's true.
And how not to obey civil laws. You're not obeying the Prime Minister. You're not obeying the NNP. You're not obeying the government. You are just accepting what rule is in place, and the rule of law is for everybody.
Yeah.
Whatever functions the NNP is having, once there is going to be a gathering, they apply to the police through the police commissioner for the permission. I know every time we need to have a rally or so, we get from them the okay to do it, and we always keep, as General Secretary, I always make sure that I have a copy of that permission, because I know for a fact that at any time in any one of our rallies, any one of our functions, any police officer acting in his capacity as an officer of the law can come up and say, this activity that you are having here, do you have permission to have it? And if yes is the answer, where is that permission? And I must be able to pull that letter out. Or those who are in the function must be able to pull that letter out and say, here is our permission. Or if you didn't have it with you at the time, to say, listen, we do have it. I do not have a copy here with me, but I can get that to you within 24 hours, within 12 hours, within 48 hours. And it is the discretion of that officer to say, yes, I will wait until you bring it, or no, you have to stop your event. No. We understand that. Not because we are a political party and our party is the one in government, would we just go about doing anything without seeking the relevant permissions that we have to. Because here's what. Remember that government has 3 branches. You have the executive, you have the parliament, and of course, the legislative, which is the parliament.
Legislative and judicial.
And then you have the judicial. And they all act and operate independent of each other, but together, laws, rules, standards are being set.
But you know what happened, Mr. Bola? I think that people's lack of understanding for what government really is what is contributing to them thinking that it's all mixed up in one. Because people are often saying, well, when they think when they think government, they think 15 representatives, they think cabinet, they think administration. That's what they think about when they think government. But they fail to realize that government is the body. Government consists of the public service, the public servants that work, which include all political affiliations, because there is absolutely no way to say that, because there's no stamp on your forehead that says I am an NNP or I am an NDC. I mean, people may have knowledge of who NNP and NDC people.
Well, some have knowledge and some have belief.
But knowledge and belief. But there's no stamp that says that. There's no expiry date on anyone's permanent papers in the public service that says when a new government comes in, you have to vacate your position and allow them to hire.
Save and except there are one or two people based from every administration,
right,
that have or are being referred to as political appointees. These are people that any minister, any prime minister, any government may want in their staff or in their office to aid and to assist them in the functionality or in carrying out of the functions that they have.
Right. And that's
these
only
people,
a handful of people.
It's just a handful, very, very minute amount. But these people will know that by virtue of how they were employed, when their government or when that government is out of office, there is no continuity for them. But others, that is why you have the Public Service Commission who hires and fires. So it's not at the whims and fancy of the politician to determine who gets a work.
Right.
It's based on your qualification and your ability to meet the standards that the Public Service Commission demands for you to fill any position. I mean, sometimes as politicians too, we have to explain that to people, because we give an impression at times that you don't worry, man, you vote for me and I will get you this and I will get you that. In fact, there are instances, and history would show, where there are certain parties and politicians that broke the ruling that went above and beyond what the service requires and has placed people in positions without the cognizance of the Public Service Commission.
Right.
But the Public Service Commission is that buffer between the people who are supposed to give service to the country and the people of the country, and should not be influenced by the politician. That is why you have a permanent secretary and you have senior administrative officers at the ministries. The politician, who is then the minister, will be the policy maker, right? And you make policies by sitting in cabinet and by discussing issues, but that policy has to be interpreted and implemented by the permanent secretary and the other administrators of the ministry.
I have a question, Mr. Bola. Okay, for example, when the policies are being made or even thought of or being put in on paper, basically, it is not just the policy maker, which is the politician, that wakes up in the morning and decides, okay, well, this is a policy that we need. It's a conversation between him and the people within his ministry, his permanent secretaries and so on within the ministry that see a need for a particular thing. And then they would make a proposal to cabinet.
But
that's not how it happens.
Well, yeah, but it goes even deeper than that. Sometimes the birth of a policy begins with a consultation that was held somewhere.
Right.
So take, for example, just using as example, the Ministry of Agriculture. Sometimes the birth of a policy decision to do something, and I think right now they're working on some sustainable land.
Land bank.
Well, the land bank issue, but there are some areas, I think Diamond Estate is one, and Bacolet, where they're going to cut some lots up and applicants will get a lease arrangement. I don't think they're selling, but a lease arrangement, because they're doing it as pilot projects.
Right.
Climate smart agriculture, and showing how we can protect land and so. A policy decision has been taken by cabinet, But that policy decision was informed, and sometimes the both of it came out of consultation with farmers, came as a result of extension people coming in and saying, this is what we observe, came as a result of Ministry of Climate Resilience saying that we need to do more to protect our soil. And because of all of the environmental issues that we're having and global warming and what have you, we need to do this or do that. So consultations would have been held, and then there will be internal meetings between the permanent secretary, the heads of departments, and the people that are involved. And because the submission that goes to cabinet, where the policy is being made, is generated from the ministry, the permanent secretary must sign a submission along with the minister before it is accepted by cabinet. So the minister can't just get up and write something and send it to cabinet and cabinet accepts it. No, it will be rejected and sent back. The cabinet secretary sees it first and goes through it and said, but no, there's a missing signature here, or this is not in line with that, and sends it back to get it fixed before cabinet. So the submission must be of a certain standard before cabinet will accept it. So it is never just the minister. It is never just the politician. There's the involvement of so many other people. And all these other people, they are not in politics. The politician cannot say that this senior administrative officer or this permanent secretary must go home. They may have a concern or a complaint. And if you have, as a minister, a complaint about a permanent secretary that is working with you, that complaint must not even go to the Prime Minister.
It must go to the PSC.
Even before you go to the PSC, you first go to the Cabinet Secretary, who is the head of all the PSCs. A discussion may be held, a meeting may be held, you try to get things, and if it doesn't work out, then it may go to the PSC, the Public Service Commission.
So you see, all of that information, Mr. Bola, all of that, people are not cognizant of all of these facts. They are not aware of how government works and how it runs. So the impression that people have of government is that 15 representatives sit in a room, make decisions,
and just carry it out.
Hand it out. And that's what people feel. And that is not what happens.
So the process of how a submission gets to the cabinet, I've just explained that to you. But even when cabinet sits, have a discuss and agrees, or sometimes they may make changes, because based on what you're presenting, after you have that discussion in the cabinet room and different people give their views and what they think should happen, you may have some changes. They may decide, well, you want to do it this way, but after discussion, we think it may be better if you add that or you subtract that or so. So you may have some little variations to what the final product that comes out of cabinet may be. But when that is done, again, it is not the minister that goes about implementing it. The cabinet secretary then does what is called or referred to as a cabinet conclusion. Meaning that cabinet had met on X or Y date, discuss an issue, and this is what they concluded. That is being conveyed to the permanent secretary in writing with a number. Cabinet conclusion XYZ on whatever date. That is why when it is being implemented, the permanent secretary will say that the authority is based on cabinet conclusion XYZ. Right? So even the permanent secretary don't just do it on their own. They get an authority, which is a conclusion from cabinet, which comes in writing and signed by the cabinet secretary with the cabinet stamp. That gives the authority to go ahead and implement. So even for the 4% increase, the ministers can sit in cabinet and say, boy, we're looking at what's going on there and we feel we should pay now, you know. The permanent secretary, along with the accountant general and others who deals with the accounts of government, must be the ones to prepare a cabinet submission and say to the government that based on the revenue collection over the last couple of months, we now believe that we are in a position. But even before they do that to the cabinet, they would have to sit with a minister, who is the Minister of Finance, and say, we have been crunching the numbers, which they do all the time. This is what we see. This is the trend we recognize. And just before you come in, and we are now in a position where we believe we can pay and sustain the payment.
So basically, the same public servants who are supposed to receive the 4% are the ones that will make the decision on
Of
whether
course.
the 4% can be paid.
Well,
or not.
they will inform, not
on
necessarily
on government's
ability
to pay.
Right?
Okay.
Now, when they convince their minister that is what can happen internally within the ministry, and they will bring the evidence, meaning the numbers to show, hey, we have been tracking, this is what we're doing, this is where we are. Because let us not forget, as a people, no minister doesn't be in any office anyway collecting government revenue.
Yep.
No minister is sitting in inland revenue or in any sub-treasury office or anyway writing a receipt for you and collecting money. You don't ever see that. It is the public servants that does that. They collect, they do the balances, they check at the end of the day, they have the audit division who is the monitoring arm, you know, and all of the things. So everything you get, every figure, every number, every dollar collected is done by the public servants.
Right.
So they will then say, well, look, this is an outstanding issue that you have given us a job to do, and we have been monitoring. And now we feel satisfied that we can do it without having problems down the line. Or if we should have problems, it should be minimal. When they have been convinced at the Ministry of Finance level that can happen, they then prepare a cabinet submission which explains to the cabinet the trend. Sometimes they give you diagrams. They show you what has been happening. They show you projections going forward.
Right.
And they explain to you that it's going to be 1.3 million a month. This is how we're going to raise it. This is how we will sustain it. This is where it will come from. This is how we have been collecting over the last 3 months, and we feel confident. These are the projections we made because of this happening, and that is expected to happen. Cabinet then, that is where the ministers are, sit down, they look at it, they discuss, they ask questions. Sometimes a cabinet submission takes 3 cabinet meetings before it is being approved, because based on the level of discussion and discourse that takes place, sometimes that submission goes back, or even if the submission doesn't go back, questions go back to the ministry to be answered. So for the next cabinet, they will send you the answers, which satisfies then the ministers that, look, what you are saying, you are sound, you are correct,
Right.
and now we give our nod. And then a cabinet conclusion goes back to the ministry saying, cabinet met, discussed, and has agreed. And based on that cabinet conclusion, you now have your authority to do what you're doing. So when they're talking about, oh, the prime minister could pay, it's not the prime minister have to decide that.
It's the same public service.
The prime minister may say, look, we really need to pay. The public servants have to find the way to pay. The same public servants that have to get the 4% too.
Yeah.
Yeah? So with all of the noise and all of, and that's what I've been saying to some teachers who are my friends. I said, listen, it is your right to clamor for what is yours, and it is yours. However, the government did not say you won't get it. The government never said they won't pay it. The government did not say you're not entitled to it. All the government asks through your representative, that is the union, is that you give them a little time so that they can find the room, they can find the space to be able to pay, but more importantly, to sustain the payment.
Yeah.
To make sure that after you get it this month, you can get it every month thereafter.
And that there aren't going to be any other financial repercussions as a result of
As
it.
a result of it.
Right.
Yes? So, what is the purpose? If it's not there, it's not there.
Right.
If they don't have it and they don't have the means, there's the will
Yeah.
to pay. There's just not the means. So instead of all of that, why not come together and work with the government and say, look, while you tell me it's not there, we observe XYZ happening. Why don't you look into that and see what savings you could get from there? Why don't you do it through your representative, through the union?
But then it would be, and you see, that's how disjointed the union and their membership are when it comes to to resolutions of problems. Because if your same membership is responsible for finding means and ways in which you can raise the 4% that they're all supposed to benefit from, then why not say to those members, okay, guys, listen, we have to find a way to get that money. So let us find ways to suggest to the government where this money can come from. Let us find means and ways to resolve this, apart from taking them out of the job that they're supposed to be doing to get the money for you to go and jump up on the streets.
Well, you see, when you say let us show the government and tell the government, we must say tell the government of good, sustainable ways, and not just pulling things out of high and say, well, send them to me money. You don't need to give all these senior people money at the end of the month and all this kind of thing. Let's look for how we can be inclusive. Because here's what, and we've said that before, the government doesn't only have a responsibility for the public servants. They don't only have to pay the teachers. There's so many other things and so many other people that government needs on a monthly basis to take care of. You know, the amount of people who have to do scans and all kind of thing that just can't find the money or could only come up with a portion and not the rest. Who do they turn to after? Because they have no other means. It's the government that gives assistance to them. Are we ever considering that? And these same people, if they don't get help, we put our hands in the air and say, boy, the government's so wicked. Look at this old man, look at this lady, look at this child, you know, she's there suffering, and they won't give a helping hand.
And we complain about so much people living in poverty, but yet the means and ways to help them get a step up from poverty and out of poverty, we want to dismantle it. We want to shut it down.
So, I mean, I am just appealing. And of course, I believe that some of our teachers should know better. And for those who don't, take the opportunity to try to understand. You are not dumb. I don't think there's anyone involved in some of the protest actions that is so dumb that they cannot understand the processes of government. You know, there are a lot of people who sit outside there and think, well, you know, government, you're coming. There's a room down in the treasury, the place they call the treasury. It's a big room that's full of money, you know? And the minister or the prime minister could just walk in there and fool a cartoon or fool a barrel or something and come out and just pay the people the money. Because you hear people call on some radio program and say, well, to avoid this thing, the government should just pay. Well, of course, the government should pay.
But you see,
but where is it coming from for the government
and
to pay?
it's not only that, Mr. Bola. The thing is, that statement in itself shows a lack of understanding of the situation, because it is not that government does not want to pay. It is that they do not have the resources to pay. So it's not as if you say, well, government should just pay them. Government would just find the money, or the money is just sitting there, and because government feel they want to punish them, they're not going to pay them. That is not the situation. The resources are not available for government to pay them, so therefore they cannot. No amount of protest, no amount of sick out, no amount of strike, no amount of calls on public radio, no amount of any of those things will automatically make the resources appear, because the resources are just not there. Now, if it was a situation where the government is saying, okay, we ain't paying them, we public servants have shown us that the money is available, we can take it out of here and put it there, and it will be sustainable, so that at the end of the year they have their 4% and we can add another 4% to that 4% and they could get their money, then we could understand why you're behaving the way that you are behaving. But government has clearly shown you. You have then articulated that you understand. You have made clear that you see why, but you're still doing the things that you are doing. It baffles me.
You know, Ms. Duncan, we did say yesterday that we're going to open up the lines very, very, very early
and
today.
It's not even very early.
And we are going to allow you to call. Many of you wanted to make your contributions yesterday. The local number is 440-7377. And if you're calling from overseas, it's 347-329-3101. Just give us a call.
Hey, why you let
us know what you're feeling, what's your views on those issues.
Yes.
There may be other issues, and as we oftentimes say, you don't always have to agree with us. You can send us something on the live, whether you're on YouTube or Facebook or so, but please do. We had promised, we want to give you a say. We are not the repository of all knowledge. We don't know everything, and we don't have everything right here, but we try to give you the facts as we know them and as we believe them, and you can now express your own belief, your own thoughts. Call us 440-7377 if you're calling locally, or 347-329-3101 if you're calling from overseas.
And you can also send us a message on the WhatsApp and on the live video. We have a first call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Buller.
Hi, morning, sir.
Mr. Buller, every country is governed by laws.
Yes, sir.
It's governed by laws. And if a country don't have a law, you cannot accuse anybody and say they did anything wrong, because there is no law. Mm-hmm. And even, like, going back to the Bible, with the Ten Commandments was there to keep people in line. Keep people in line, so that if they go out of that, they break. So if any institution has a law, you must have a law, right? Even in schools, they train how to obey the rules of the school. Even in church, the member have to obey. On the workplace, you have to obey. Right, and no one is above the law. Yeah. If you did something and you didn't get permission, the police has a right to call you for questioning. So I don't see, if police call you for questioning, they don't arrest you. Why should you mobilize people to go in front to protest? I don't see the sense. Yeah. Right? So I do believe people are trying to make something out of nothing. Mm-hmm. Right? They just call for question. They don't arrest you. You don't know what you're going for. You just go humbly, and they come and be able to.
They didn't even put him in the police van to go.
They put him in the police van. So now we cannot say we are Christian people, but then we want to disobey the law of the land. Yeah. Because when Christ came, he didn't abolish the Ten Commandments. He lived there for people to for the country to govern. So then they see the Ten Commandments could not give us salvation. It could bring us closer to God. It was just to keep us there. So then, don't because we say we under the perfect law, but we still have to obey the Ten Commandments, right? Which was the law. It is the law to the land to govern and to rule, right? So one of the things again I want to say again to the people of Greater Carriacou, Pete Martin. No, yes, we said we want the country to open back, but then you still have some people telling people, some people don't want to take the vaccine, don't take it. But yes, we still encourage the people to fight and demonstrate for the 4%. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you on one side of the world you asking for something, on the other side we tell them do take the vaccine. As the government said, if a certain amount of people take a vaccine, so if 80% of people take a vaccine and 20% don't take it, the 80% that took it cannot affect the 20%. Right? So then, if we take it, if 80% take it, the country could come back to some form of normalcy.
Yeah.
Okay, but then, if you want that, if that happen, yes, the people who fight for the 4%, is their right. It could get a 4%. So then, I want to ask himself a question: as we people, yes, my friend tell you something. What do you have to think? Look at what your friend tells you and see if it makes any sense. Look at as if it makes any sense.
Yeah.
And one of the things I want to say again, care and love. As Christ said in his word, in the good and the bad time, I love you. Yeah. I care about you. Right? We don't only care about someone when things are rosy and nice with us. And when you fight for something and cannot get it, the same people that you say you care about, you become uncaring to them. Care is a love, it should be forever. Because what Christ said in his word, you see, if you say you love me and you hate your neighbor, the truth is not in you. We have to love one another. We have to love one another. And I always say, Mrs. Duncan and Mr. Bola, I believe in justice and equality for all. And I always say, if I have to get something and just to deprive our next one from not getting it, I cannot I cannot feel happy with that. I want to know, like, if I eat something good that day, my neighbor eats something good. And if I know I get something, I will hinder my neighbor for not getting that month the government giving to buy too much sugar. I prefer to do without it because I know when they reach, I could buy some sugar, buy some flour to get to me to my family to eat a proper meal. All right. So I just want the people to look at that. Look at your neighbor, and say yes. As Christian, we say Grenada is a Christian country. Let us not start Christian, but let us demonstrate what we're saying. Let us show that we love one another and we care about one another. Don't only care about ourselves and say, yes, I will fight for your 4%, which is yours. They won't fight you, and the government say you will get it. But all the government asks for, just have some patience, because patience is a fruit of the Spirit. And what they say about patience, if a patient, you will see what?
And belly, that's what they say. I don't know when that going to happen.
But you say, because Mr. Bola is Duncan. Do sometimes you're doing something and you just get like frustrated.
Yes.
But don't give up. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to relax, take a 5 and come back again to tackle it, and you will get it. So, Mr. Bola, Mr. Duncan, you all have a wonderful day. God bless you.
You take good care, and thank you for your sharing today. Yes, as we see, the lines are open. You can call, you can send. What do you have up on the live, Ms. Duncan? Is there anything that you can share with us?
We do have a few comments on the live video. Someone is saying, I want the public to know that God is in charge of this country, and they could do or say what they want, but it is what God says. When he closed a door, no one can open it. And when he opens a door, no one can close it. There's another comment that says, good explanation. That is why it's termed Hard Talk, the educational program. Knowledge is key in everything. We have a call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my sweetie pie.
Good morning, Miss Jacob. How are you?
I'm fine in the Lord.
Amen.
And what about my beautiful, handsome? Well, I don't know how to put it.
Well, who tell you are handsome, Miss Jacob?
You is handsome.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well, maybe I was one time, but I ain't handsome again.
Yeah, you're handsome. You're still handsome in the Lord.
Oh, in the Lord. I do agree with that. Handsome in the Lord. How are you?
I'm fine.
How has your week been? How has the week been?
Huh?
This week, how was the week?
The week was perfect, boy. Yesterday, I like this rain we get.
Yes.
I love it.
Thank God.
And I said, Daddy, I love how you send the rain for us. You must all time send it so. You don't send it as if it's vexation. You know? You just take it time and you send that rain. The rain don't wash out. The rain take it time and it go through the earth.
All right. Well, Ms. Jacob, we love hearing from you, but we have a lot of calls coming through.
Yes.
Do you want to...
What I really called to say, I'm taking my...
Second dose? Your second dose of the vaccine?
Yeah, man, I'm taking the second dose.
When you supposed to do it?
Taking it?
Wednesday?
Already?
Yes, oh God, I'm taking it by the grace of God.
Okay.
Because I know God may take off. Don't go, I say, behave as yourself. You're not telling me what to do. My life is my life.
Right.
And you can't rule my life. Anything coming.
But it is nice to know you're taking your second dose. I had my second dose, when you think, this morning.
Thank you, Jesus.
I just came out, when this morning.
Make me feel to jump out in the window.
And don't bother with, don't bother with Miss Duncan.
Make me feel to jump out in the window.
She went since Wednesday. She go and leave me. Since Wednesday, she go down in Radisson and get she second dose.
Why she do that?
She don't wait for me.
Well, if you taking long,
You must wait.
He taking too long. He taking too long.
Yeah. She said I was taking long to come, Miss Jacob. So don't bother with her. Yeah.
No, I think
I prefer to work with expediency. You too.
Yes.
Enjoy you made it.
You as well. Take good care. Have a blessed weekend. God bless your soul, Miss Jacob.
Okay.
And on Wednesday, I wish you the very best.
Right.
All right.
Thank
Nice.
you.
Yes.
God bless you and I love you.
All right.
We have a call on the overseas line. Let me see if it's still hanging in there.
Yeah.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning,
Hi.
You
Mr. Duncan.
have the patience of Job.
Good morning, Brother Bola.
Morning to you, sir.
I'm telling you, Brother Bola,
Yes, sir.
that program this morning is the best you had for the whole year.
Is that so?
And I hope you have a recording of that.
No, we
That
always have a
sometime
recording.
Yeah, you guys not there, you could play back that. Because you explain what is government,
Yes.
who in charge and who is not in charge.
Yes.
Which I think the union should have a copy of that.
They
Should know how things works. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Because what's going on in Grenada, Brother Bola, nobody want to hear about that. Nobody want this thing to continue going on.
Mm-hmm.
But the politics,
Yep.
Brother Bola, you're as old as me, so I could tell you, you know where that is coming from.
Yes. Yes.
You know, when you can attack a man on his strength, you try to attack on his weakness.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the game they're playing. The only time they could think about getting into government is always trying those kind of loopholes. Them I call it crab hole. You understand?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, in order to try something to cause problem in the country.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the world today.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the world today. I'm in Canada here. I want to go home. My mother died. I couldn't go to Grenada. You know, every day my mother tell me, son, when you're coming? When you're coming?
Yes.
You know? So I know it is hard. And we are educated people. We are intelligent people. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
So we know what is best for this country. The decision Dr. Mitchell took in the early today, ranking 1 or 2 in the world.
Yes. Yes.
By the decision he took,
Mm-hmm.
those know decide to follow him. Look at Trinidad today.
Yeah.
Look at Barbados.
Jamaica.
And you can go on and on.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to go as far as India. Because the Prime Minister in January, I know if you guys heard that, he declared everything is okay.
Yes, he did. He did.
He allowed something as we call carnival in Grenada. That's how much the Indian does have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hundreds of thousands of people celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like carnival in Grenada.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have it in Canada at a smaller,
Yes.
extent. And all those things is dangerous.
Yep.
He was giving vaccine to the world.
Yep.
And his people, just over 1% been vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This is madness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and people decide, the farmers in India decide, oh, they're not taking that and they're not taking this.
Yeah.
But today, they're lining up in hospitals,
Yeah, man.
begging,
They're
they
begging
don't-
for it now.
and
yeah.
blaming the government.
And they don't have enough supply for demand.
For
They don't have.
Yeah, they're begging for it now.
They're begging for it, and I hope all Grenadians is looking at that.
Well, we just
And
did
say
a piece.
thanks to Dr. Mitchell. You mightn't like the man, but you have to respect what he have done for this country of ours.
Yes. Yes.
You know?
Yes.
You cannot go on a plane right now and say, well, I don't go in a plane because I'm going to Trinidad if you're not vaccinated. You can't do it.
They're not even allowing you to board the plane, you know.
I know that.
Yeah.
But you can't come in Canada without vaccine, you know?
Yes, we know.
You know? I live in Montreal.
Yes.
But Ebola, in Toronto, they block the highway.
Yeah.
It's only called medical and commercial, you know?
Yeah.
People, food stuff you want to pass through.
Right.
You can just drive and say, I'm going by my daughter in Toronto.
From one state to the next, you had to have
No.
your card to show that you're properly vaccinated.
No, they put curfew on that. You can't go nowhere.
Right.
The curfew here in Montreal from 8 at night till 5 in the morning.
We starting at 12 in the night and they have NDC operatives saying time to take it out.
I'm telling you, that is what they play in the politics. They played it in the past already. They played it in the past. We had all kind of things. I was young. I got involved in it.
Yes.
You was young.
Yes.
You know it too.
Yes, yes, yes.
And when we grow older, we could have seen what was right and what was wrong.
Yes.
You see? Sister Duncan much younger.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
But I'm telling you, it cannot work. And Dr. Mitchell have to do what is right for this country. I don't care if NNP lost the election. Do what is right for this country. Do not do things that people like. NBC always trying to say they're doing things what people like and then embarrass them after.
Yes.
The NNP do not believe in that. And you guys have to stick to all your guns.
Yes. We do what
because
is
if
correct.
Dr. Mitchell doesn't do that, and he decide that he go fall in the trap for people to like him, he will go down in history like the worst prime minister in Grenada.
Well, in fact, he ever saying, he say if he ain't do what is right and what he's supposed to do, then Capo smoke with pipe, and he don't want time for that. So he will do
He
what
has
is
to
right.
do what is right for the country.
Yes.
He don't care. The only thing I say with Dr. Mitchell is 4 months going now. And if you have to give the people something, although Brother Bola, you explain it to me so I understand it better.
Yes.
Right? They have to come to a decision and say, okay, we can't give all the people. Look at the books. Come and look at the books.
2 Fridays ago, they gave them the books to look at. 2 Fridays
well,
ago,
right.
they had a meeting.
We only could give you 2% now.
And as soon as that
because
is
next year
available, they will.
Yeah, we give you 2% because that's what, the economy allows us now. And hear what the union going to say. That's all we could give you for now. And when we grow a bit again, we give the next 2% because we can't give it in 4s now. We have to break it down in 2s.
In 2s, yes.
Yeah, we have to break it down in 2s. So the government has to step up and say, look, that's what we could give you right now. But if the government was saying that, then I have to blame the government too. We can just say, well, push it down the road.
No.
We pushing it on the road.
They did discuss all that with them, All of what you're saying there was discussed with the union, Yes.
Because it can work.
The government negotiating team told them, look, as soon as we see some light at the end of the tunnel, if it's 2% we can give first before we give the other 2, we will. All we say, have a little patience. But they don't hear in, no matter what they say. They went in the meeting 2 Fridays ago. They listened to the presentation from the Ministry of Finance, everything. They say, we understand. We see what's going on. But we want 4%. How you go reason?
Yeah, because they're trying to play politics with the young head.
Yes.
They're trying to play politics with the youth. That's all they're doing. We do this already. Yes. When I was part of that organization, we tried already.
Yes.
We tried with briefcase, and when we don't, we start to laugh, and you start to get on.
Yes.
You understand me?
Yes.
And when people didn't stand for it, they kicked them out of the party.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
No, you cannot have 5 leaders in such a short space of time. Because Grenada right now going to left without a leader. And that's where the pressure was on Dr. Mitchell trying to still hold on. Because we, the NNP, still made an error. Because you have to find your left hand before you can move on.
Yes, yes.
And that is the mistake of the NNP. It cannot be solely on Dr. Mitchell. When I sit around the table and I look, because once I was thinking that you, Brother Bola, would have been a leader.
A lot of people thought so, but I decided to put myself into other things. I want to help work on the ground.
Because you are the man, the way you speak, and you're a kind of diplomatic man, so I know you. You see, you could hate a person, but they think when they leave the meeting, they think you like them.
Is that so? Oh,
yes.
I didn't know about so.
Well,
anyway.
that's why you're bad. You see?
Yes.
You will smile with them, and you're a very good diplomat.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And when they come to the meeting, they say, you see other guys used to run to you?
Yes.
You see NDC used to run to you?
Yes.
And I want to kill Dr. Mitchell and Brother Boyd, the one from
Bowen,
Brother Boyd.
Yes.
Because the way you speak.
Yes, yes.
So they think they have you, but they don't know you yet.
No,
You're the biggest criminal, they don't know you. I will end there. I want to say more.
Thank you so much. We always appreciate your thoughts, and feel free. Have a good weekend, because we're going down to weekend. It's Friday evening, and take good care of yourself.
I just read, Mr. Bola,
yes.
a very, very interesting post. And it can apply to what we're speaking about.
Yeah.
It says the reason why dead people get more flowers than the living is because regret is stronger than gratitude. Mr. Bola, that is so right. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why it's so profound, especially in this scenario. No government is ever going to be perfect. There was never going, unless God says, I am sending you this perfect individual, that's never going to happen. They try their best to do what they can. And there's also a saying that says blame is safer than praise. Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because in 2008, we felt as a nation that enough was not being done for us. We did not know how to be grateful for even the little that was being done. I'm not saying that we have to be satisfied with the fact or satisfied with bare nuts or peas or whatever they call it. But we must still be, in the little that we receive, grateful in order to be blessed with more.
Yep.
We felt like we were not being given enough. We wanted more. So we decided a change was necessary. A change took place. Sweeping change took place.
The wind of change is blowing in the atmosphere.
But that was not a wind of change, Mr. Britt.
It was a wind of change.
No, it was a hurricane.
It was not change for the better.
It was not a wind of change. It was a hurricane. That could have never be a wind of change. That could have never be a wind. That had to be a hurricane.
Okay.
Because it swept through Mr. Bola and it devastated us.
Okay.
So it could not have been a wind of change. It had to be a hurricane.
Mm.
And we were very quick to revert back to what we thought was not good before.
Stone that the builder reject
Became
the head cornerstone.
Became the head cornerstone.
Oh, yeah.
And that is why I always say, never be too swift to act because of emotion. Because you feel like you want more. Because somebody tells you that you are not getting enough does not constitute or does not give you reason to make sweeping emotional decisions. Because we are very, very good at finding problems. We ain't good at finding resolution. We're very good at casting blame. And the people who cast blame when something goes right, they quiet, dead silence. You don't hear them saying thank you. You don't see them being grateful for things that have gone so good for us as a people. But you hear the ungratefulness when something goes bad. And that is a terrible, terrible precedent to set, especially as leaders in our society. You may not like the administration, and that is what maturity is all about. You may not like an individual, but there must be something that the individual has done that you are grateful for. And therefore, you must be mature enough to say thank you or well done. We have another caller on the line. Good morning.
Especially as leaders in
Wow.
Oh no, caller, we are very sorry, but you're gonna have to try calling back again. We're having a very difficult time hearing you. It sounds like you're calling from underwater, from undersea. So try again, and let's hope that the connection is better this time. Yeah, but Mr. Bola, we plead with people to, and this, I think, as time goes by, I wanna revert to vaccinations and the importance of being vaccinated. And I want to continue to stress day by day that we must not be caught up with the theories, those theories out there that are meant to tell us why we should not. But we in ourselves must look at our situation and look at the things that are happening around the world, closer, just as close as Trinidad, who had 300 plus new cases only today in a matter of 24 hours. That could be us. And that could devastate us in a way which we were never going to be prepared for something like that. No country is ever going to be prepared, no matter how big or how small. But we have to be cognizant of the fact that the only way out of COVID-19 is vaccination. If you have another way out, then maybe you should share it with us. But for so far, for everyone in the world, that
COVID is vaccination is our best shot.
It's our best shot. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, Sabola.
Hey, morning. How are you? Hello?
Hi, caller, good morning.
What has happened?
I'm not sure. Hi, caller. Good morning. No, we seem to have lost him. Try again. Seems like he's trying again already. Hello, good morning.
Then maybe you should share it with us. But for so far,
hi, good morning.
Everyone in the world.
Hi.
It's our best shot. Hello, good morning. Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, please turn your radio or whatever down because it's interfering with the call.
Hello? I call and already yet. When they're ready, they're going to call back. They're not ready yet. It's our best shot. I have been vaccinated. I'm only waiting on my 2 weeks to pass so I can boast about being fully vaccinated. I can't boast about being fully vaccinated until my 2 weeks has passed. Mr. Bola, I'm ahead of you by what, 2 days?
I don't know. You're ahead of me by a lot of things. A lot of things.
But I would encourage, I'm trying my best to encourage, especially the people that surround me. Most of my family members that are in my direct circle have been vaccinated, at least with their first shot. Those who have not yet been vaccinated with their first shot are preparing to do so in the coming week. And I feel good about that. You know, I feel good that we were able to talk through these things and we were able to, you know, get on the same page and we understand the reason behind why we are doing it, you know, not just for our own protection, but protection for the people that are in our circle that can't protect themselves, you know. So I'm happy that we were able to do that. We have another call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Preparing.
All right, caller.
What about that?
That caller, if you are listening to the program, you need to lower the radio when you are calling so there isn't a feedback, because when we answer the phone, all we are hearing is ourselves. So I'm hoping that you hear this before you try calling back again. All right? The lines are still open, but only for a short period of time again, because we don't have much time left before we can say goodbye and everyone enjoy their weekend. We have a holiday weekend coming. And with that being said, Mr. Bola, we do want to encourage persons to be absolutely careful. Follow the protocols. The protocols are still there. You know, we don't have COVID running rampant in our streets. We don't have COVID running rampant in Grenada, but we still have to be careful because it's all around us. We have a call on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Johnson and Mr. Bowler.
Hi, morning.
Very well. Good morning to you, sir.
Happy Lady Weekend to you all and all the workers on the nation. I was listening to a program, a newscast the other night, and I heard the utterances of a rebuttal of what the Minister of Education was saying in comparison to the law and days missed from work and the work code and something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy that was responding to that statement was Mr. Kenny James.
Mm-hmm.
And he was referring to, like he was trying to say that Ms. Spear is saying that these workers are getting paid and if you don't come up, you can get paid and that's static. Why are these men doing these things? Why? I mean, come on. The lady actually read the law and work code law. 2 days without a sick leave, on the third day, if you can make it, bring a sick leave.
Yeah.
What is the matter with that? So if the teacher want to stay only 3, 4, 5 days without a sick leave, are they expected to get paid?
Well, maybe that's what they're saying, but all she did was explain what the law and what the collective bargaining stands for, and she was just reminding them for their own good.
But, I mean, for what it was, I want people to go back to that clip and listen to what this guy is saying. I mean, what nonsense. You know, it's like these people are coming across to be like, they're just doing it just for spite.
Mm-hmm.
I have opportunity to be watching a lot of programs, a lot of programs concerning the vaccine. And I watch a program with a guy in America on one of them shows, a guy called Tucker Carlson. And this guy is actually telling people, if they see people wearing masks in the street, cover them. If they see children wearing masks, call the police, that's child abuse. I mean, these people, like they get in the morning, willfully, like, just come in and just be evil.
Maybe.
The best shot for the coronavirus is to probably wear a mask, which is the first line of defense, and then get vaccinated. It's plain and simple. What's wrong with that? We are getting so gullible in what we call fake news and conspiracy theories. I mean, it is very, very sad. I mean, Come on. If they don't want to take a vaccine, they don't want to vaccinate, they don't want to wear a mask, fine, do with you. But when you do that, I get the coronavirus from somebody else, and then you spread it and I spread it, and the whole place is going to be terrible. We don't have a health care for that yet. I mean, I started the video with the night farm with India, and I was shocked. India is a supplier of vaccine.
Yep.
They make the vaccine, and they don't have. So if people believe, and you know what? People will say that's conspiracy. Those videos are lying. That's not the truth. Because there are people that are thinking among that lying. They will say that's not real, but I mean, come on, man. We have to be more responsible as leaders. And I listen to Mr. Randall, and I'm shocked. And rather strange, Mr. Bola and Ms. Duncan. I find the PRO of the party is rather quiet.
I don't know, you know. I can't tell you why. I don't know.
What is going on with that party? Something is going on because I'm hearing this clown and this Bud show talk show they are talking about come next general convention, they'll be new leaders. This man is actually dictating to the NDC who he want to put in.
Well, maybe he has that power.
I glad for them because if that is them or peace, they are in serious problems. They're in problem all now. And last before I go, I also heard Mr. Brian. So you want 4% alone, you want 4.5.
Well, of course.
What is wrong with you?
Nothing is wrong with him. He has a right to make his demand. It's whether or not those who he's negotiating with must know better. So, I mean,
you guys have a good weekend.
You have a blessed one yourself. We wish you God's grace and God's love. Thank you for calling. I have a document before me here that was handed a little while ago. It says at the head here, Government of Grenada Ministry of Health, coming from the Senior Environmental Health Officer to the Chief Environmental Health Officer, 30th April 2021. The subject is fogging schedule from the 3rd of May to the 7th May 2021. This is to inform you that the Vector Control Division of the Ministry of Health will be conducting fogging operations on the following days and in the following areas in an effort to reduce the incidence of dengue fever that is currently on the rise. And that's important for us to note. Yeah? If dengue fever is on the rise and that is coupled with COVID and we have a breakout, then we're in serious trouble. This phase of fogging operation would target areas of suspected and confirmed dengue cases, and this operation will complete the entomological surveillance of the Aedes aegypti that is being carried out. That's the mosquito that is carrying out. So the schedule for fogging would be Monday, the 3rd of May. Please take note, Monday, the 3rd of May, Mount Hartman and the environs, including Grenada Valley, and they would start at 5 p.m. So people in the area who has issues when fogging is taking place, you may be asthmatic or what have you, you would be asked either to leave the area or probably have your house closed up so that you won't feel the full effect, but it is necessary for the fogging to take place. So Monday, 3rd May, Mount Hartman and the environs, including Grenada Valley. Tuesday, 4th of May, Carriacou and the environment and its environs, including Fenton Village, and that also starts at 5 p.m. Wednesday, 5th of May, Gulf Coast and the environs, 5 p.m. Thursday, 6th May, Jean Anglais and the environs, including part of Belmont, 5 p.m. And, of course, Friday, 7th May, Belmont proper from 5 p.m. So for 5 days of the coming weeks, coming week, starting the 3rd of May, Monday the 3rd, we'd have fogging taking place in 5 different areas. All days, they'll start at 5 p.m. So for those who have issues with the smoke, the fog, please be guided accordingly. Either you lock up your doors or you get out of the area for a while. Anytime around the 5 o'clock period until the fog is out a bit. Just to repeat for your reminder, we do have a call. That would be our last call. So let's take the caller and then I'll just repeat the areas on the days.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Miss Duncan.
Good morning.
And good morning, Mr. Bull.
Good morning to you, sir.
Mr. Bull, sometimes I tell others, I mean, it's just because I find I really have something to say that I have to call, because I'm telling you, when you and Miss Duncan finish with them, all what they had to do is to go into the caves of Tora Bora like Osama bin Laden. Now, Mr. Bola, listen to this. I'm a guy with common sense. So, this is my understanding and this is my interpretation, especially what I would have heard the Prime Minister said yesterday. Now, am I correct in saying that the government did not say you are not entitled? The government did not say you don't deserve it. The government is not saying that you're not going to get it. All the government is saying they are not in a position to pay now based on the shortfall in revenue. And all they're asking is to defer it for a couple of months, and as a result of that, the government will be able to analyze the situation and make a determination at another date. Am I correct in my assumption or my assessment?
Well, I think you are more than correct. You're very factual. You're factual with all that you're saying. It is as simple as that in the eyes of people who have understanding and common sense like you.
Okay. Now, Mr. Bola and Ms. Duncan, Grenada problem is not the NNP. Grenada problem is the NDC and the high level of, for a better word, stupidity, miscalculation, and the lack of vision that causes them to jump on every bandwagon that is opposed to the government. Mr. Bola and Ms. Duncan, I cannot think of another political group in Grenada in our history that has been more dumb, daft, and lack vision. No, Mr. Bola and Ms. Duncan, I speak for myself. Yes, I'm stupid once, but I find these folks who supposed to be intelligent, who supposed to be educated, they're giving me the impression that they are stupid 2 and 3 times.
Yeah.
Now listen to this. Listen to what Mr. Andal and the leadership of the NDC is saying to us. Remove the curfew, close down the airport, and give teachers and give them the 4%. Infection is all around us, yet they're saying open up, remove the curfew. Mr. Bola, 6 years, 5 different leaders. Hear what they're saying. Pay the 4% to hell with the Imani. Pay the 4% to hell with the senior citizen. Pay the 4% to hell with the social safety nets. Pay the 4% to hell with all those people that get financial assistance from this government at the end of every month. Mr. Bola, is this leadership? When people talk like that, is that a group of people that we will put the affairs of Grenada in their hands? I hope not. So.
I hope not.
I trust you all will all have a pleasant weekend.
I hope you have a very blessed one, and just remember, these are the same people who are saying now, pay the 4% was not even paying the people their salary at the end of the month when they had the opportunity to.
All right. Mr. Bola, I want you to just give the reminder again. Quickly.
Just the reminder, because we are running out of time. We just want to thank all those who called. So Monday, 3rd May, the fogging team will be in Mount Hartman and the environs, including Grand Valley, starting at 5 p.m. On Tuesday, the 4th of May, Cafe Boo and the environs, including Fenton Village, from 5 p.m. Wednesday, 5th May, Gulf Coast and the environs, 5 p.m. again. Thursday, 6th of May, Jean-Anglais and the environs, including part of Belmont, that's the part closest to Jean-Anglais, from 5 p.m. And Friday, 7th May, Belmont proper from 5 p.m. I want to take this opportunity to thank all our callers, those who have sent us a message either by WhatsApp or on the live. We thank you even though you just listened. And if you have had a different view to us, and you didn't call to express it, well, we're sorry that you didn't. Or if you called and you weren't able to get through, we apologize for that. But with God's blessings, we hope that we'll be around on Monday next, maybe to continue with that same discussion, or to deal with another issue that may turn up over the weekend. We know that May Day celebration is tomorrow. We heard that the teachers are supposed to have a march sometime today in the tongue of St.
right now.
Okay, in the tongue of St. George. We are going to look, we are going to listen. We'll give our views if we need to come next week. But by all means, do continue to enjoy Friday evening. Continue and please enjoy the weekend. But remember, you need to stay safe. You need to keep your distance. You need to continue to wear your mask once you're out in the public. Wash your hands as regularly as you can and continue to hand sanitize if that's the means of cleansing your hand. Please remember, the vaccine is our best chance of dealing with and fighting this scare of COVID. So thank you again. And we will join again on Monday, God's willing.
All right, guys, we've come to the end of our program for today. As we say here every day, in whatever you say and whatever you do, be safe and be secure. We always want to be talking with you. We do not ever want to be talking about you. So please do enjoy the remainder of your day and stay tuned for the national report. It has been a pleasure, guys. Have a wonderful weekend.
Walls are bound to crumble and to the floor. My enemies' walls are crumble and to the floor. The spears will fall. I've been made and sealed with love.
Hey, are you gonna wear your mask today? You see everywhere you go, there are rules you got to follow. So don't you say COVID-19 will delay. Take the opportunity to save your community. Don't be that guy, put a mask on your face if you're heading outside. It's your life, my life, more lives will be taken if we don't try. If you feel any symptoms, call the hotline. Stay inside until you feel fine. 6 feet away every day. Keep COVID-19 far from away. Keep Grenada safe. Be COVID-19 smart.
The COVID-19 vaccine continues to be available throughout our Tri-Island state, and it's free of cost. Protect yourself and your loved ones, and let's get back to life. Visit covid19.gov.gd for answers to your questions. Visit your nearest health center to access the vaccine. A message from the Ministry of Health.
Prime Minister expresses concern for welfare of students amidst current industrial action by some teachers. We'll have details to this story and more in the National Report. Welcome back. With the details to the news for Thursday, April 29th, 2021, I am Sherry-Ann Noel. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honorable Keith Mitchell has expressed concern for the well-being of the nation's students who were left unsupervised when some teachers engaged in protest action. In the continuing clamor for the immediate payment of the 4% salary increase due to them and other public officers for 2021. Some teachers engaged in a sick-out this week, leaving students in an unsupervised environment and forcing parents to make hasty arrangements for pickup. Speaking to members of the media on Thursday during his latest media engagement, Dr. Mitchell said while he has no issue with the teachers seeking their increases, the approach being taken could have serious repercussions.
I don't believe any serious person, any concerned person for our children's welfare would want to indicate that you should put a situation where the parents expect a child to be in class, in school. The parents may have gone to work. That child may be left unattended and no preparation for the welfare of this child. that this child then will tell to go home at 10 o'clock in the day. You know the society we're in. There are pedophiles outside there. We know them. We know they have them outside there. There are people, young children, whose minds are not as developed as others, may find themselves in compromising position with the opposite sect or similar sect, whatever they are. That's a problem. When no parents' guidance are there out there, no support system, anything can happen.
The Prime Minister has reiterated government's commitment to honor its obligation to pay the 4% increase, but he said it must be done at a time when the revenue earnings can facilitate the increased public sector wage bill. Government remains committed to meeting with the trade unions quarterly to review the country's fiscal situation to collectively determine when the level of revenue collection can accommodate the salary increases. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister stated that there is absolutely no comparison between government's inability to pay the 4% increase to public officers now and the country's contribution of $1 million to the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, following the eruption of the La Soufrière volcano.
Some people are saying, even saying, because if we could find $1 million to give the St. Vincent, that means we could find the money for the teachers. And for all teachers or all public servants. I think it's unfortunate that anyone would use the help to our brothers and sisters in St. Vincent who are in desperate shape as any basis why we should get additional support at this particular time from government. Because when we were flat on the ground, they didn't ask us, they had their own troubles. The government then had increases that they wanted to give their public servants, but they gave Grenada. I remember St. Vincent and all the OECS countries that the monies we normally have to pay for the upkeep of the OECS Secretariat, in some cases Grenada's contribution is literally almost $2 million a year. They took up the slack. All of them joined together and took to pay for Grenada's share. So they made direct financial contribution. And I'm assuming St. Vincent is state that we may be called upon, not yet officially through the OECS, to handle similarly until St. Vincent recovers.
Moving along, after years of patiently waiting, the farming community in Redmud can now breathe a sigh of relief as the sod was officially turned on Wednesday, signaling the commencement of work on the Redmud Feeder Road project. The project, which is projected to be completed in 7 months, forms part of the $48.6 million feeder road project, contracted to Hanover Construction Company Limited. Wednesday's sod turning ceremony was attended by Parliamentary Representative for St. Mark, Honourable Dr. Clarice Modest Kerwin, MP for St. Patrick West, Honourable Anthony Boson, representatives from Hanover Construction Company Limited, and Minister for Infrastructure Development, Senator Nolan Cox, and members of the community. Senator Cox says the project is an extremely important one for government as it serves a number of purposes.
This project serves one, to help with the road access that is needed in these areas, especially for the farming community that is here, but also to create employment opportunities for persons during this difficult time. So as government of Grenada, through the ministry, we are very excited and pleased to implement such a project at this time. We invest in our community, we invest in our people, and that is what we are most excited about. So I'm happy to see all the residents out here today and know that they're excited. Next time we're here, we should be walking or riding on some nice finished surface and driving, a matter of fact.
Director of Construction and Operations at Hanover Construction, Richard Maharaj, says prior to the turning of the sod, his team met with members of the community on the plans in place for commencement of the work.
We went through with the community our plans, the time frame to do this job. It's a 7-month program. We also spoke with the community in terms of us employing members of the community on this project, which we have done throughout the Feeder Roads project. The fact that we will have technical expertise here on this project that we'll be sharing knowledge with the younger members of the community, and they're very happy with that. They're extremely happy that this road has commenced and will be starting. This road is extremely important, as we know, for the farmers, for them to access their crops, to reap their crops, So we're very pleased that we were able to mobilize here before the heavy rains commence.
Project Manager Peter Copplestone gave a brief overview of the scope of works to be undertaken.
The Redmud Road is construction of approximately 900 metres of road. The road will be 4.3 metres wide and it will be made of concrete. We'll also be installing a concrete bridge, which will be a box culvert. That's at the junction where the existing road has collapsed with the streamers. We'll be installing that there. There'll be approximately 800 metres of box drain and curb and slipper drains, as well as 3 pipe culvert crossings. And there'll be about 100 metres of retaining wall as well.
Residents in the immediate community and surrounding areas will be employed on the project. This is a national report. The news will continue after the break.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. Let's do our part to ensure that each and every Grenadian remains healthy. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Dr. The Right Honourable Keith Mitchell says vaccination is not a political issue and calls for the support of union, church leaders and employers to spread the word on the importance of being vaccinated. Dr. Mitchell was addressing members of the media during a special interview on Thursday. He said the link of the vaccination and economic benefits to be derived cannot be overemphasized as the country continues to work toward a return to normalcy.
I want to reiterate a call for all church leaders, business community, trade union leaders to demonstrate leadership by encouraging persons to get vaccinated. To me, the issue of vaccination is not a political issue. It is a health issue. It's a life issue. And it cannot be the government, the Prime Minister, or the Minister of Education, or the Minister of Health to talk about commitment to vaccinate or to protect ourselves. It cannot be left to us. Every single individual and every church leader, every community person, even if you are a shopkeeper and you're serious about your commitment to your society, when people come into your shop, you encourage them to protect themselves and to protect their families. So that's a responsibility of every single person in our society, and it should not be left to a political person or left up to a medical professional.
So far, over 12,500 Grenadians have received the first dose of the vaccine, and more than 2,000 have received the second dose. The Prime Minister's call for support comes during the observance of Vaccination Week, when people are being educated on the significance of the vaccine. It is also expected that many will take the opportunity to be vaccinated. Dr. Mitchell said government will continue to remind persons of their right to receive or refuse the vaccine. However, it is also the right of the employer to choose in the best interest of the company.
The government will not go to Parliament to pass a law that will say you must vaccinate everybody in the country. This is a law. We said we will not do that. But we make it really very clear that everyone should vaccinate to ensure that we can get back to where we want to be. But we also make it clear that it's the right of employers to insist that you must vaccinate. I don't see a conflict there.
The Grenadian leaders stressed that the vaccine gives the basic condition to protect ourselves and livelihoods and creates a safer path to return to normality.
If you are vaccinated with 2 doses, in most cases of the different vaccines, then you can go out even without a mask outside it. But they told you not to go in very large gatherings because you can, in fact, infect people. I think the issue has to be vaccination. And similarly, if we want to create more jobs and more opportunities, then we have to vaccinate because it will give us the basic condition in which to protect ourselves.
Now for a recap of the top story. Prime Minister expresses concern for welfare of students amidst current industrial action by some teachers. And with this, we come to the end of the National Report for Thursday, April 29, 2021. On behalf of the entire news and production team, I am Sharian Noel, thanking you for viewing.